Just a note about Syria. Don't believe anything you hear in the media. The New York Times and the Washington Post are propaganda tools for the CIA. I hope you understand that. The CIA leaks news to the Times and to the Post, and they print it up as news. And then the other papers take their lead from the Washington Times, not the Washington Times, the New York Times and the Washington Post. And so they copycat the stories that come out of those two papers for the most part, and the AP, of course. And that's all spoon-fed propaganda from the federal government, especially the intelligence agencies. You got to understand that. The media is nothing but a propaganda tool of the federal government. We don't have a free press anymore. In fact, the press in Russia is freer today than the press in the United States. That's a fact. So anyway, don't believe anything you hear. What happened here? This was a collaboration between the United States, CIA, the British MI6, Israel, Mossad, Ukraine, and Turkey intelligence. Those five nations supported financially, with intelligence, with satellite communications, coordination, all of that, to support this jihadist extremist group of Sunni militia that have been training in Turkey for years for this invasion. These are the jihadists. These are the true radical Islamists, the kind of people that cut the heads off of anybody, including fellow Muslims who don't agree with them about their theology. They are Sunni Muslims. They are radical extremists. They are nothing more than a continuation of ISIS and ISIL and Nusra, which was created initially by the U.S. CIA and the Israel Mossad. Those two organizations created ISIS, ISIL, and Nusra. And government officials since, including no less than Hillary Clinton, have admitted publicly that the United States created those terror groups. And then we sent all these troops, ostensibly, in the war on terror under George W. Bush, to fight ISIS. We weren't fighting ISIS. We created ISIS. Russia and Iran fought ISIS. General Soleimani was the principal leader in the war against ISIS, the Iranian equivalent of vice president and supreme commander, who Donald Trump assassinated during his first administration. He was the one that defeated ISIS. Well, the descendants of ISIS, this HSR group of extremist Sunni Muslim radicals, they've been training and being equipped in Turkey for years and years, like I said. So as soon as they signed the ceasefire with Lebanon, the day after, they launched. Again, this was a multinational attack on Syria. This was the United States, Great Britain, Turkey, Israel, and Ukraine. Ukraine troops are on the ground in Syria fighting against the Syrian forces. Now, I don't know what's all going to come out of this. The goal is this is another proxy war against Russia and Iran. That's all this is. It's a proxy war, just like the Ukraine war, just like the Middle East war. It's all proxy war. So I don't know exactly what Russia and Iran and China are going to do. There's a lot they could do. We'll see. Here's the thing that bothers me as a Christian. Say what you want about Bashar al-Assad. First of all, he was not the murderous thug that his father was. There's no question his father was pretty brutal. His son, Bashar al-Assad, is not that way. In fact, this may surprise you because you never hear this from the media. Syria had more religious freedom in that country than any Middle Eastern country that exists. Bashar al-Assad allowed every religion the freedom to exercise their faith, whether they were Sunni Muslim, Shia Muslim, Jewish people, and Christians. And in Syria, there is a large number of Christians living in Syria. Well, now that apparently Damascus has been overrun by these radical extremist Sunni Muslims, every Shia Muslim, every Christian, every Jew in Syria will be slaughtered by this radical group. So we're talking one more time about tens of thousands of our brothers and sisters in Christ that we are supposed to love, right? Bible said we're supposed to love one another. We're supposed to love them, that our tax dollars and our U.S. government has led a war against those people that's going to result in the murderous executions of thousands upon thousands upon thousands of our fellow Christians in Syria. Just like the war in Gaza has killed thousands and thousands of Christians in Gaza and the West Bank and Lebanon. There's a lot of Christians in Lebanon. You don't understand. If you've never been there, you're not up on Middle Eastern religion, etc. The Christian population in the West Bank, Gaza, the Golan Heights, in Lebanon, in Syria, believe it or not, there's a lot of Christians in Iran. There's Christians in Iraq. There's Christians scattered throughout the Middle East. In fact, I would venture to say that Christianity in 2024 and in the 21st century, 23 years leading up to this year, Christianity is growing faster in the Arab states and in China and the Far Eastern states than in anywhere else in the world. Christianity is dying in the United States. Slowly, but it's dying. It's already dead in Europe, except for Hungary still has a large Christian population, very active. Russia has a large Christian population, very active. There's a couple other countries, most of them in the East. Western Europe, France, England, Belgium, all those countries, Christianity is dead. I mean, it's absolutely dead. Those are pagan countries. So here we are, supposedly the Christian country, United States of America, and we are waging war on countries which have large Christian populations, and we are assisting the slaughter and the genocide of our Christian brothers and sisters, not just in Gaza, but all over the Middle East. That's what our government is doing. And it doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democrat, the slaughter of Christians around the world goes on, largely financed and funded by the United States of America. So you need to understand it. That's a very quick, brief, partial synopsis of what's going on in Syria.